Hey folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 18th of June 2020. Today we're going to keep running through the pairs. We'll backtrack a little. Today I'll make sure that I'm recording, and we'll start with the Euro Canadian dollar. So if we start on this pair, I think we did this yesterday, but we'll just have another look today. Noticing where price currently is, we have this area of demand here. We had a really nice departure. We established the buy zone just here. Since this area of demand was established, price tested it once, went a little bit deeper, so the new buy zone is the low of the pullback. Okay, so I said, cool, well, let's have a stab at this pair at the actual area of demand, and this is monthly demand, and you can see on the weekly chart just what it looks like. So I think this is a pretty decent area, so we'll leave that on there for the time being. So again, we're starting our analysis on the big time frames based on the buy and the sell zones. So we continue with the Euro Australian dollar. This has reached a very high point, so we have an accumulate distribution candle. The deepest retracement since that is right there. Price didn't quite get there. We got to the body of the distribution candle, I'd say, very close, and then price left away from now. And looking at this, well, there's no demand in here on this time frame at least. We do have this area of demand that has been tested one time, two time, and after that we seem to have departed from here. So for the time being, it's kind of tough to say what's going to happen. Looking at this, we have a nice candle here. This is a distribution candle, and if we manage to close in the bottom half of this candle, then this will make this a potential area of supply. But we want to see something. We want to see this area accomplish something, and by accomplish I mean cause market structure to fail, consume opposing areas of demand. But we don't have that just yet. But you can see down here we did have some areas. We had this right here, which was tested once, and then price slowly gnawed away at it. Price left. This one here is the one that caused price to kind of trade above it and hold above it. Price poked into that area, and then we left. Okay, so this one is gone. Below that we have the origin of this move. The origin of the move is somewhere in here, so let's have a look at that just here. So go down to the weekly chart. My internet at the moment is absolutely horrible. It's so slow, and so there's a huge lag in changing time frames. So if it gets really bad, I'll just pause between the changing of time frames. So if you look at this, I mean, price kind of went up. This is that area that was tested. This one went through it, and this is kind of a pullback here. But you can see also the price pull back to this area here, to this accumulation candle, and so this just looks a little bit better down here. But this is not pretty either, because there's a lot of trading at this area. So we're going to have to go again to the smaller time frame to find some clarity. So zooming out and scrolling back, in here we can see what this was. We had this area that was tested, price pulled back to this area. We formed a child, another child, and price left from here. So this here is an interesting area. So I think this is quite pretty, because how price pulled back, slingshot was pulled back, two periods, and a very clear departure. Only 2 days of accumulation and then departure. Okay, so this is an interesting area, but also notice that we have this area here that was tested. Price moved through it. We pulled back. We retested the area of the buy zone, then we left. So for this area here, the buy zone is the low of here. This is where the slingshot was pulled back to on this place here, and I like this one here because when price came down, we left. We formed multiple accumulation continuation patterns on the way up. The slingshot was pulled back to this area here, which we still have not visited. So if we mark off this, we'll mark off this one here, and then we go right and we look. Yeah, so we're just here, so you can hear my kids beating each other up upstairs. So come on. Okay, God, that was a tough wait. So we had prices just feeding away at this, and there's nothing in here at all that would lead us to believe that there's anything interesting. But we do have this here. I do actually like this, because we had this area here, price went down, we rallied up to it, we accumulated for a very short period, price flew up, we cut above all of these highs, the slingshot was pulled back, and then we released. So this is interesting. I want to see what that level is. Oh, come on. Come on. Jeez. Okay, the 14400 area. So let's see if we have anything there. Might have to go to the smaller time frame to find it. Yes, I'm going to put this on. Put this at 1.5 times the size of the area. It's going to flick this on, and then I will adjust it here. So I'm going to move this now. Ooh, that's a little bit too big. So maybe I'll go to 1 times. It's a little bit too big, that one. I want a bit of space, but I don't want it to be enormous. Let's go like that. I go here, and I slide it up to this one. Let's go down to the weekly once more. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. Now we have 2 times the size of this area. I think that's fine. So we'll leave that on there. That's a huge target. I don't think we're gonna get up there. You never know. But we'll move from here. 1, 2, 3 times the size, and then we'll have to wait and see what the opposite side, the opposing side of the market looks like once this position gets filled. So we'll leave that how it is, and we'll move on to the pound Swiss franc. Before we do that, let's remove all of these objects. If you have a bunch of objects on your chart, you want to remove all of them, simply right click, go to object list, click one, press Control A, and then hit delete, then everything's gone. Just kind of clears things up a little bit. Okay, monthly chart. What's going on? We're really low. You can see we poke lower, we poke low, lower, lower again, and so we're kind of, we're flirting with these very low prices. If we put on, let's not bother, but the currency strength histogram is going to mark this off. We're going to be very low. We're going to be close to a negative variant, which is interesting for reasons to start to buy. And you can see, price poked down there and we left, and now we're kind of pulling back. We poked up into this. We sold up here earlier on, and we got out around here. So that was an interesting trade, and now price is kind of sitting on this little area of weekly demand. We can't really see what it is. It's not very pretty if you look at on this time frame, but this one certainly was. We had a sell zone here. Price poked a little bit deeper into the supply, and then we left. Now price tested, and now it looks like we're maybe going to look to have another run lower. So we'll mark off the low, because obviously there's something in here. Okay, and then we'll go to the small time frame and have a look and see if there's anything that could be interesting. And you can see why price stopped there. We had supply tested, this one removed it, and now price is kind of wriggling. Okay, so we do have this already been tested. Does that make it uninteresting? Sometimes. Price did not move all the way through it. We went from here to here. Okay, but we'll have to find clarity on maybe one time frame smaller, and you can see here that we have levels, testing levels. There's nothing really interesting here. You can see how price, we had this one, it's tested, so price really tests deep into the area. So that's not that interesting. And looking at this, there's not a lot to do here. What I prefer is this. I like this down here, and I like this because price formed this area, it was tested, price rallied, we moved sideways, and then we went up. We had this area, it was tested, it was removed. This qualifies this one removed it. Okay, and so we had buy zone, buy zone. Okay, so we have that on this time frame. Let's see what it looks like on the daily, if there's anything. And it looks pretty, yeah, we have this one down here. I like this one down here, and I like it because the slingshot was pulled back and then this huge run higher. So this would be an interesting area, the 112 20-ish area. I like that. The buy zone is the 112.50 area, around that. So that's potentially interesting. So keep your eyes on that if you choose to. Let's clear all these off. Okay, let's have a look at the pound Japanese yen on the monthly. Okay, so we have buy zone. Didn't quite get deeper into that, and we went down here. So looking at this one just here, we'll zoom in really far, and that will scroll back and dissect. So we had an area here, price left, we moved above, the slingshot was pulled back, and then we left. So we have this one here. We had the buy zone. It was here. Price moved into the buy zone and then it left. So we're going to move this lower. That's where the new buy zone is. Let's see where price is. Yeah, price pretty far away. We're really trying to kind of advertise cheap prices, so seeking liquidity. So what we could do is we could do something like this, where we took 2 times the size, which is around like this, putting our stop in uncharted waters. You can see if we scroll back, price has not been that low. We'll be doing it at the buy zone down here, so that'd be a potentially interesting area to watch down there. So a quick inefficient race down to that area, then departure. I think that'd be quite lovely. So what we could do is we could put that on. I'm going to move the entry. Oh, it's a pain. To the beginning of the buy zone, which was here. Give myself a good stop. I can't really see what that says. I'll come back to that later. Don't want to spend time filling that, but that looks like an interesting area. I like that it's kind of below these attempts to move lower. That makes it interesting. And again, this is like monthly chart, so we could get there in a few weeks, we could get there in a few months, but we're looking to maybe move lower from here. And so, looking at this, when we have had a really nice area of demand that was formed, and it really left quickly. We took out this supply, which was tested. See, so that made, it's just an interesting area. So the departure candle was this one here. This, let me zoom in. You can't see really. Okay, so this, we had accumulation. This candle left. The lower that candle is right there. The lower the area is right there. So this is the area. Price tested it once. Price went a little bit deeper, and this is where we found some support for price. Price managed to move higher. Let's see. Price is still kind of struggling. We did have this. Okay, so price had this area here, which was almost tested. Price almost went through it. And so I'm thinking another run towards the lows, so like maybe a demand zone in here, the beginning of the buy zone, kind of from this low and lower, in an attempt to kind of accumulate some orders strong enough to move price, to hold above this. So if we go to the daily chart, maybe we'll see some of these areas. And you can see it down here, it's still not very clear. Here it is. So you can see just here we have a parent, we have the child. So I think so, something from here to here. Okay, here we have the area, the demand, price went up, slingshot was pulled back, and then we released. So we could say, okay, a little bit deeper next time. Okay, so we came to here. This is just a pretty interesting area, how price came back, we accumulated for a while, and then we left. And price initially was here. This was the buy zone. It was tested. We went a little bit deeper. And this brings our attention to this one just down here. So I think that this looks like a pretty interesting area. I would probably go for something like that. We can't really see. Let's have a look on the hourly chart and see what that looks like. That was a nice area just there, tested. See how these test, refusal, accumulation, punch. That's a strong, nice move here. We have something else here which is nice, but keep moving back to the area of focus. We have this. So we have something like this. This looks like a pretty interesting area. And I like that when price was here, we actually we had an attempt to move lower. Let's go to the 4 hour, we can see it. Attempt to go lower, and then we left. Okay, so price, this is the buy zone. This is the area of demand, but this is a child. Okay, so a child tells us that this is not demand, this is a reaction to the demand. this being the demand. Okay, so I think from this point on it'll be quite an interesting area to have a look at. Okay, over to the franc Japanese yen. Let's remove all of these. Okay, let's start on the monthly. What's going on here? So we have, this is pretty far away, so we have this area here which has been tested once, twice, three times. So the beginning of the sell zone is around here, just here. This is the supply. Okay, we had an area here, price tested it, which is an arrow pointing to the edge of it. It's tested, price sat on it, we moved sideways, we cut through it. Okay, and this is the area that did it, and price moved away from this area quite nicely. Let's go to the smaller time frame and have a closer look and see if we can identify an area of supply that is above. So you can see actually here we had a sell zone. We went here, here, here. So I'm thinking we're probably going to go to at least here, but we want to find an area of supply in here. We probably have something just here. We move this, mark this off right there because there's something inside there. We can't see what. Go to the daily chart. Still nothing. 4 hour, it's probably going to jump out at us, 4 hour or 1 hour. I can see it. Okay, I don't have enough price on that. MT4 brokers. Yes, but we do have this distribution, departure. This is the sell zone like that, so I'm going to mark this off. This is about where we want to be selling. We have a stop that's pretty far away, so we'll leave that on there. I like this. I like that we had like a departure, distribution, departure, slingshot, gone, and price has not been back to this level since. See, slingshot, that's it. So I'll leave that on there. I like that very much, and we'll have to wait and see what happens when price gets back there. Okay, monthly. Let's go to the Aussie CAD. Aussie CAD. What's going on there? Well, we are really having a run high, but we are moving into some areas that are responsible for doing some pretty hefty stuff. See here, buy zone, deeper. The origin of it is up here. So let's have a look up here and see if we can find that area that we want to sell at. The software found it already and it's been tested. So let's have a look deeper. Okay, we had, look at that, we had a nested weekly area. Okay, just here, price gap down, slingshot was pulled back, so we had the sell zone, which was here. Price went into that and then we left. Let's have a look if there's something a little bit more further away. Okay, so on this one it's a little bit clearer. So, okay, so this is where we went to. I like this one. This just leaps out at me like a nice area, and I like this because we had that departure distribution for one period. We moved lower, we moved down, slingshot was pulled back, and then we left. Okay, so this is the move. We zoom out a little. Okay, so this is the move that caused price to go all the way down here, move below this, and it originates from this area just here. So an interesting area might be around here, something like that. I think that's a pretty interesting area. Price is getting pretty close. See, price has already been back to this area here, and this is where price went to. So actually the sell zone is here, moving higher. So we tested this the top of this child. This is an older sibling, but this is the one that is interesting. So I think I'm gonna plop that in there. I like that a lot. Before I do that, let's have a look. Yeah, I like that, but price is not going to stop here. It's not going to stay away from here forever. Why? Because price has already traded it in these areas. And I'm just going to show you where. Price has already been down here. We've been all around this area here. You know, so price has already traded through here a lot. Okay, so this may work, but price may also say, I want fresh, uncharted waters. Okay, and so yeah, I'll wait on that. I'm gonna I'll mark that off and I'll leave it, and then we'll see what happens, and I'll reassess, and I'll have a look at currency strength when price gets up to that level. But this does look like an interesting area just by the anatomy of this little move here. But this is price testing this area here. Okay, and so maybe we want to go high. So I'm not going to do anything there, but just bring this to your attention. You keep your eyes on it and see what happens there. And let's move on to another pair. Before we leave, let's have a look at this very quickly. I'm just going to move this out of the way. Here's the move that went away. Where did it go to before it left? Right there. So we could do this. Okay, this is close to price. Pretty close to price. God, internet, I'll tell you what. You pay £25 for a 20 megabit connection here in the jungle in Indonesia, in Bali, and it's so bad, it's absolutely horrible. Indo Home is the name of the company, and I'll tell you what, it's the sketchiest internet I've ever owned in my life. So I've developed the patience of Job. I'm trying to upload a 2 megabyte document to my website, and it's simply not happening. Because 2 megabytes, you know, whew, that's I mean, that was something that would challenge a 56K modem 10-15 years ago. These days you would have thought it would go easy, but apparently technology is not up to par in these parts. But we do have this, so let's zoom in, have a closer look. That looks pretty interesting, so we could go ahead and plop that in there, because this is the origin of the move, but my software is not working because it can't contact the licensing server, so I just wait. But what we'll do in the meantime is we'll go to a different pair. Let's have a look at the Australian dollar, Kiwi dollar. Okay, Australian dollar, Kiwi dollar. If you look at this, where is the sell zone for this pair? Just looking at this. Okay, we look at this. You can see there's just a big range. There's just a big range here, price going up and down and up and down this range. So this is doing anything in here is kind of just trading in the middle. So there's nothing here. The sell zone is here. Here's supply. Here's the sell zone. Okay, this is really far away from price, but there's simply nothing to do here for those big moves for the time being. So we have this one above, we have this one above. This is really, really, really far away, because right now you don't know what price is going to do. It could either go higher or it could go lower, because even though it's visited this buy zone here, it might still come back down before it continues higher, or it might just continue higher. You don't know, and so currently it's difficult to see on this price chart on this time frame. So let's have a look at the weekly chart. Maybe there's a little bit more clarity. Yeah, not a lot of clarity. And you can see that price has already been here. So this is not, I mean, there's nothing to do until much higher. We're really low. We had a run for this buy zone. Looks like we excited some traders. People got on board. Our price rallied. Now we're moving sideways, and we form this area of demand, and this is demand because it managed to move above this high, but it's not an attractive one. Why? Because price went up and then we came back down to it immediately. And so what I'd like to do is I would like to look lower in here. This is where this is where I'd be more comfortable buying. Okay, so we have the accumulation. This candle closed above, the low of it is there. So let's have a look at this on the daily chart, and maybe we can find a bit of clarity. So you can see in here, but there's still not a lot of clarity just yet. You can see that there was something in here. You can't see what around here. It's tested a lot and it was removed. We still can't see. We need the 4-hour chart. Let's have a look, see if we can find it. There it is. Here we had this child supply tested, and then price kind of pulled back. We went up, we pulled back the slingshot, and then we left. So the demand is actually here. This is the origin of this big move, okay? Because when price left here, We did not come back to it. We just left. So the beginning of the buy zone is here. Okay, so there's nothing to do until price comes all the way down here. And if we see where price currently is, I mean, price is here. We have this, but this is messy. We have this. Price already tested, so you could trade this again, but you'd want to trade at the low, the deepest test of this. I wouldn't touch it because I'd prefer price to move lower. But we do have this down here. If we have a look on the alley, maybe there's some super sharp areas. This is the origin. This is the origin of the entire move, the big move. Okay, but there's not a whole lot of interesting stuff here. And here on the alley, we actually have a parent-child relationship, so we actually do this. And I just don't like this. I mean, I wouldn't do anything. I'm forcing. I wouldn't do anything with this. I just feel uncomfortable. Intuitively, I feel uncomfortable looking at that, so I wouldn't touch that. So I'll just wait for price to come much higher or much lower. And I'd be keen at going to the 30-minute chart or something really small and looking all the way down here at the bottom, which we can't do because let's just mark this off. Make sure the low, yes, and then let's go to the half-an-hour chart so we can find that box. There it is. And we want to find that super sharp push. Okay, 15-minute chart. Where is it? Where is the buy zone? We still can't see. We can see a little bit. We can see that it was here. Now it's here. Okay, so let's go to the 5-minute. I don't know if we have this data. I do. Amazing. Okay, so looking on the 5-minute chart, this is the area. We had a huge wick there. Price came down. We left. We formed the buy zone. It was tested. It was tested again. Price has not been back there since. So this would be the most expensive price I would be comfortable paying. And you could even say, well, actually, I mean, we had this slingshot that was pulled back here. This is testing that, and that would be a valid argument. It has done that, and so this could be kind of price testing the area. You could say, okay, well, I want to go all the way down to here. I don't know if I have 1 minute data on this time frame. I highly doubt it. That'd be really cool if we did. So I'm just gonna give everyone a headache by scrolling like this. We'll go all the way back now. Let's see if we have it. No, we don't have it. That's okay. We do have the 5-minute data, which is equally as good, almost. Yeah, and so I mean, ideally, you would look to move lower. This is a really nice area. This is the 1.0 area, more or less, 1.0010. So 10 pips above the big figure. This is a really nice area. So I think prices coming down here are going to have a tough time moving through. You can see, I mean, this was this is at the 1.0. That was obviously a pretty attractive price. I mean, 1-for-1. That's great. Okay, and so I mean that's very low. We do have these above price. We had this one here that was fallen. We also have this one, slingshot release. The buy zone is here, so we do have something above. We have this one, and we have the buy zone for that here. Tested. So we do have this at the 10525. Yeah, but I don't feel there's anything. I wouldn't do anything here at least. Okay, so let's go to. Sorry, that was the Australian dollar. Yeah, Australian dollar, Kiwi. Good. Let's go to the Aussie dollar, Swiss franc, and then we'll finish up for today. I mean, price is super low. I have no more data. What's going to happen? We don't know. We're approaching this area here. So the sell zone is right here, the high of this candle, right there. Let's go to the weekly chart and look. What do we have? Okay, we're here. This is the sell zone. Matter of fact, we had this area, which was tested, so the sell zone is a little bit higher. It's up here on this area here. And here we have a parent-child. So you want to go for the child, the high of the child, which is deep into this parent, which brings our attention to a pretty tiny area like that. When you see that, I'd say, you know what? I'd rather, I mean, there are almost no pancakes left on that plate, and so we're going to be looking for pancakes. Again, this is mess. Where does the mess stop? It stops here. So I'd be more comfortable selling from this point and higher. And then we have this here. So if we found it very nicely, so we could actually go to the daily and have a look inside there and see what it looks like. You can see here, I mean, here we had a nice area of demand, just here. It was tested, price went down, we cut through it, and so you're going to want to go higher because the origin of the move that caused the consumption of this demand is higher. Here we have a parent, we have a child, and so I'll probably look higher. Yeah, this looks okay. Oh, sorry, wrong. Let me remove this. So I'd probably do something here like that, or go to the tops here. I like this just because of the cutaway. Price moved up, we kind of form these two layers below, and then we finally cut away. But from this point and lower, sorry, this point and higher, I think we'll see some selling to begin. Yeah, so that's what we have there. I'm going to wrap it up at that. We've been going on for half an hour. If you have any questions, drop them in the video. If you like it, hit the like button. If you don't, put the thumbs down. Yeah, and otherwise I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.